If you don't have a lot of compost, squash and hay can be a really good alternative and can quickly turn a weedy patch into a productive space. Even though my preferred way of starting a no-dig garden is mulching with compost for the growing beds and wood chip for the pathways, it can be quite expensive, and as this patch is basically a bed of thistles and bindweed, I'd need a really thick layer of mulch to suppress them. Hay is relatively inexpensive, so I can add a much thicker layer and can then plant squash within it to add even more ground cover and produce a nice crop of squash in the process. We cut everything back and began to break apart the hay bales to cover the ground evenly with a depth of roughly 8 to 10 inches. Then it was time to plant the squash. To plant, I simply made a hole down to the surface of the soil, popped in the squash, filled the remaining space with compost and firmed it down to help the plant establish before it roots into the ground and also into the hay once it breaks down. Lastly, I water it really well and cover the root zone with hay to help with water retention. But if you do decide to try this, just ensure that the hay you source hasn't been treated with anything nefarious such as herbicides, and you will inevitably get some seed in your hay, but it's much easier to deal with than perennial weeds. I'll harvest my crop of squash in late summer to early autumn, and next season, once the hay and squash plants have broken down, I can make my new growing beds straight on top of them. So I hope you found that useful and follow along for more tips.